Doctor, it's an honor to have you on. I wanted to give a proper introduction. It's an honor to speak with you.
No. No. Vinny. Vinny. What have you done, man? Okay. Well, I've got a little bit to cover in this one. Here's the thing. I have a lot of experience with this man. Unfortunately, Dr. Steven Greer. I have a lot to say. Vinny doesn't know any better. A lot of people don't know any better. Only the people who have worked with him closely actually know who this man is and what he does and how he acts. So here we go. Depressing. So where do I begin? That's the question. I'm going to play this in the background so you can see what's going on here. So, here's the issue. I worked for Dr. Greer for a long time. He doesn't know who I am. That's certain. You know, certainly not. But I worked for him for a long time, and I would have to say that he is the worst employer I have ever had in over 30 plus years of work experience. So I don't say this lightly. There's going to be, if this video, let's just say I had millions of subscribers and I had millions of views, there would be a ton of people in the comments saying, you can't say that about Greer. He's huge. He helps everyone. He's a big part of the movement. Oh, I know this and that, and I did this, and I met him. He was so nice. The problem is, they don't know. And the reason why is to get to know Greer, you have to work with him closely. And he's not going to show his other side in front of his viewers or even to his volunteers, which I had to take charge of. I had to help and work with volunteers. I had to help and work with other staff. I had to go to CE5 events. I had to set up and plan everything for this man. So I don't say this lightly. You have to understand that my perspective, my history, is I have my own experiences maybe I'll get into in the future, but that's kind of irrelevant right now. But it led me, it led me to really loving what Greer does. I was a huge fan. I was following everything he was talking about. I agreed with most of what he was saying. No issues there. That was fine. And got the position. I had a lot of expertise in certain areas. I was good at what I did. Still am. And he was interested. That was mind-blowing for me. I'm meeting this celebrity type, in this UFO space. To some people, that sounds hilarious, but it's a very serious space. A lot of people take it very seriously because the technologies and the politics wrapped into it are very serious. If these technologies were to come out, countries would probably be able to, they'd be blowing each other up from across the world. They'd be using weapons from space. It'd be a huge mess. Our economy would crash overnight. It would cause a lot of issues. I have a lot to say on that, but that's not what this is about. Point being, I was a huge advocate of Greer and what he was doing. I was a huge fan. So take my word for it when I say that this was one of the biggest letdowns of my life in my career. Okay? I mean it. This hurt. This actually messed with me for a long time. It took a few years to get over it because it confused me. It made me second guess everything that's going on, and it made me wonder about this whole UFO space and the UFOologist space in particular, and all these people who are talking on this, who's really full of shit, who's really being honest and genuine. This guy here, Greer, you can see in this video, he comes off as kind of meek and sort of gentle, and he seems normal. But once you understand how he acts and what he does to his staff and people around him that are close, it's complete opposite. This guy is completely two-faced. Now, I'm going to preface this. This is my opinion. Everything is alleged because this guy is a nut job. This guy makes you sign NDAs for everything. if you go to his CE5 events, not as a staff, not as anyone else other than someone who paid him $5,000 or more to go to his CE5 events per person, he makes you sign an NDA because he doesn't want you talking about the details at his event. Okay? And there's good reason for that, believe me. I have the bona fides. I have everything I need to prove that I worked with him. I don't know if I'm comfortable with sharing that right now. I would probably blur out 99% of it. But I'm going to come back to this topic another day. Some other time, I'm going to talk about this more extensively, but I'm going to keep this one short and just kind of put this out there, and maybe Benny will see it, maybe not, probably not. He's got 6 million subs. I have 0, so I don't think he's going to care. And he probably won't take my word for it. Maybe he thinks what I'm doing and all this stuff is weird. I have no idea. Maybe he's open-minded. Maybe he'll understand. But this is the truth. This is just how it is, so I'm going to give it to you straight. Working for him, I had to go through many contractors. Basically, so many film crews, so many people, so many staff, because they could not work around Greer. His famous saying was, "I have a supercomputer brain and people do not understand me. I am the talent. I am amazing." And I'm not kidding, these are actual quotes. "And people cannot comprehend my greatness." These were infamous quotes of Greer's. And I can't tell you how many racist rampages he went on, in private. I have recordings of all this stuff, okay? I'm not going to be some giant whistleblower putting all these recordings online. I don't think that's appropriate. Also, I'm worried about the legality of that. Like I said, I had to sign a bunch of NDAs. Everyone involved with him has to sign NDAs. I don't know, the list goes on, but this dude he's had so much money stolen from him as well, kind of funny enough, because people come there and he pays like a certain amount of money, quite a bit of money as well, tens of thousands, we'll just put it that way. And once they start working with him, they realize he's a complete nut job. In fact, he's beyond a nut job, he's a narcissist. All he does is talk about himself, how great he is, and how shit everyone else is. His staff, all garbage, they're all subhuman to him. He's not interested in having conversations with any of them. I only worked with him directly and constantly because of my position. Everyone else was worse than subhuman. I was subhuman to him. Everyone else was below that, if that's even a thing. And I'm not kidding. This dude, he had people fetching him wine and cheese if they didn't deliver. If they had look, I'll put it this way. When they would do that, they'd have to run on foot. At these CE5 events, they run 15 minutes away and they run back with his very specific branded things that he requires. If they were more than 5 minutes, okay, more than 5 minutes to deliver his items, he would rant in front of everybody there, and talk about how slow you are. You must be dim-witted. Are you dyslexic? Are you retarded? I mean, this dude went on and on. He berates all of his staff. He berates everyone around him.
Almost had to wait.
Well, I got an idea for a shoe rack right in here, maybe, huh?
Ugh! What is this gelatinous muck? Andrew, when I tell you to pack staples, must I specify that you are to pack good caviar and not this $1.99 fish bait?
Yes, madam.
Carpenter?
Yeah.
You have exactly 48 hours. I suggest you get started. Throw that out.
Yes, madam.
Mais oui! Bien sûr! Oui? Écoutez, Jean-Jacques.
And let me tell you something. He doesn't like his volunteers either. This is a huge, kind of hot point, okay? This is a weird one. So, there are volunteers that don't understand this because they're like, well, I work with him directly. It's like, no. You work with him and help him for free. So he keeps his mouth shut. And this is something he specifically said to me as well. He's like, well, they work for me for free. I don't have too much to complain about. They're not very competent, but they're free. And that's how he feels about them. They're just little worker bees, and he'll say that. He'd say all these things, all these little terms. He calls everyone a charlatan. That's his favorite thing to do. He's got the mouse turd files in the basement, all of his hidden secret files under his house. The list goes on, but here's the thing. Here's the big problem. Nothing he's bringing to the table is new, okay? Nothing. It's him regurgitating what he hears on the phone or what he reads on Twitter or various people he comes in contact with because he is a celebrity in this space, or was, okay? Now, funny enough, if you read the comments on this stuff, you'll see a lot of people distrusting of him. They're like, he's so full of shit. I don't trust him. He sounds creepy. He sounds in the closet, which, yeah, I agree. Where it made me question if he was in the closet too, believe me. Sitting in his underwear on his bed. Weird stuff, man. It's a long story, but anyhow. Along with his narcissism and all this stuff, once you go to his CE5 event, you'll start to see things unfold. And I'm going to preface this as alleged. I'm not making a 100% statement, but I know what happened, okay? But it's alleged, all right? Legally, it's alleged. Now, when you go to these events, you all sit around in a circle, and you've got the mountain mesas overhead. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful experience in that way. It's just like getting together with a large group who has similar, mentalities, thoughts on things, and extraterrestrials and whatnot. But the purpose of you being there is potentially summoning extraterrestrials into your area and speaking with them and saying hello, at least from a distance. So, what does Greer do? You can look this up yourself. He hires a Cessna pilot to drop flares in the sky along the mountain mesas. Now, I didn't know this at first. I had no idea. I shit you not. That's what he's doing. He made the mistake of handing me his night vision binoculars. There were a couple people who got a hold of them. Now, he doesn't like to share them, probably because of this reason, because it makes it really obvious what you're looking at. Also, they're very expensive. So, I got them.
Something else that Stevie does here is also kind of sus. He tells the participants to shut off their night vision scopes, which would have indicated whether there was a plane over the horizon.
Wow, and it's above the sea
Please
level.
turn off your night scope, Charles. Off.
In fact, he does this even though he says that he was using a night vision scope, controlling the information during the session so that nobody else could see what he was seeing.
Okay, so I'm looking with the night scopes. There's no smoke, there's no trails, these are not flares.
Now, I don't know about you, but as a fully grown man whose balls actually dropped, if I paid some son of a bitch several $1,000s to go sit on a beach and wait for orbs to show up, and those orbs showed up, you better be damn sure I'm looking at it however the hell I want to.
I hold the binoculars, I look. Well, it's clear as day. You can see the flares, you can see the smoke coming off the flares, and you can see the little lights, flashing in front of the flares where there's obviously an airplane dropping these off, okay? It's blatantly obvious.
And this second camera looks like it captured some stills, and it looks as if they might have had the ISO turned up a little higher on this camera. And that can allow you to see things in the footage that you normally wouldn't see with the unaided eye. And if I take these pictures and I enlarge them, and I put them side by side, you can see very clearly that there are lights leading away from the site where the two flares were dropped. And what this looks like are the aviation safety lights on the aircraft. And if we put them all side by side, you can see flare 1 drop, flare 2 drop a few seconds later, and as they are dropping, you'll see a light farther and farther and farther away as it's moving away from the site where the flares were dropped. And is there any other indication that these were flares? Well, yes. If you actually look at the original footage and speed it up, you'll see that flare 1 shows up and starts dropping, and flare 2 shows up and starts dropping, and they drop at the same speed towards the horizon, and they blink out as they start to go towards the water, but they're also moving in unison, and they're being blown by the wind along with the clouds. Now, if someone wants to spin this, they'll say that the UFO showed up and then they went into the ocean. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why the hell would UFOs be blown by the wind?
So, look it up. There's other people who figured this out. I didn't know that till later. I was piecing this together myself. I had no idea. I was a huge fan. I'm not looking for things to go wrong with this guy. I don't want any problems. But as soon as you start to get used to him, he gets used to you, immediately he's off to the races, just shitting on you, shitting on all the staff. He's doing the worst things possible, so you start to become very skeptical. You start hearing all of his lies. He starts telling, he's a chronic liar. He starts telling stories, and he can't remember pieces of his story in person. He's good about it on air. He's good about showing a different side of himself. But once you know, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start hearing it in everything he does, his mannerisms, everything. He is nothing like this person that's interviewing with Benny Johnson. Not even close. Not with Joe Rogan. Not with Logan Paul, which was just ridiculous. I remember telling him not to do that, okay, for the record. But he did it anyway. He's desperate. He wants views. He had the most views ever when I was on his team, okay? Because I worked really hard for him. I was passionate. But the moment I saw what he was doing, it was just downhill from there. He's been sued multiple times. There's been many staff, okay? There's many staff he's been through and gone through, from accountants to, a whole team in his home. The list goes on, but here's what I think's going on. A lot of the information he gets can be legitimate. Some of it. So I'm not gonna say a lot. Let's say some of it is legitimate. but he's regurgitating it. It doesn't come from him or anything. It comes from other sources that you can see and listen to online freely, from Bob Lazar to, I can't think, Dylan, and there's several other, Pope. There's a bunch of people out there, and he's just getting that information from there.
We know he was funded by Larry Rockefeller to push Rockefeller's goofy little cultural conditioning UFO psyop. Greer, along with people like Bob Bigelow, Linda Moulton Howe, and even the Slurm Queen herself, Hillary, were all part of this. And through all of it, the only thing Greer has ever produced is stupid footage like this, his fake little Atacama alien body that was proven to be a malformed human, and let's not forget Bijou the Andromedan, which...
And I'll tell you right now, working with him, as much of a nightmare as it was, I learned a lot. I met a lot of people, celebrities, writers, you name it. It was fascinating, but it wasn't worth the experience. I don't know. I still go back and forth on it, but a lot of things in life, you can look back and okay, video's done, but I'm gonna switch over here. A lot of things in life, you can kind of look at it and be like, well, it was worth it. The experience is worth it. I needed it. It taught me a lot. And I do look back on this and I think the same thing, as in, it's more of a negative thing. So, but it's also a positive. It has kept me from having terrible employers, right? It's kept me from being around fake, faux, charlatan people, as Greer would say. It's solved a lot of my issues in life, and it made me realize how people can really be, how awful and disgusting and, well, in his words, subhuman. I mean, awful. I've never experienced anything like this in my life, and he taught me extremely valuable lessons through this whole horrible experience. So on one hand, I would never want to take it back, right? I never want to give up that experience. On the other hand, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was like traumatizing, honestly. It changed my view on the world very quickly. And it took years to get more into a normal state for me. And I don't have problems like that. I don't need therapy. I don't have that stuff. I'm very, introspective, retrospective. That's what I do. That's why I'm doing this, right? I want to share my thoughts with people. Anyway, again, there are a lot more stories. There are so many stories about my experiences with CE5 events, working with individuals, celebrity types, film crews, all kinds of stuff. Really incredible. But believe me when I tell you, this guy is the biggest narcissist you will ever meet. He puts Sniper Wolf and all those terrible people to shame. The biggest narcissist you could ever imagine in life. This dude's on steroids and he puts them all to shame. On top of being a doctor, so he has a god complex already, this guy believes, and this is his quote, he's the smartest person on earth, the smartest man alive, so no one can understand him. That's why he doesn't have staff. That's why he doesn't work with people, because he cannot get along with them because they can't comprehend his greatness. Okay? There was a nickname we all gave him, and it was Diaper Diva, because he's a grown-ass man baby child, that screams and cries at everyone over everything, and it's all his fault. Everything that happens to him, all the negatives, everything, from staff being fired, from staff quitting, from people taking his money, literally stealing his money, to all the terrible things that happen at his events, to all the negative interactions he has, it is all his fault. And that is the grand irony of Dr. Steven Greer. He has no idea that his actions, his attitude, his narcissism, to the most extreme, utmost degree I have ever seen in my entire life. Even my family was so excited for me, and when they realized and heard the things he was saying, they couldn't believe it. They were disgusted. Everyone I know, everybody, my friends, my family, my partner, everybody was disgusted. And there were a couple people who were directly involved, and they got to witness this themselves as well. It was one of the most disheartening things I had ever been through. All right, this was kind of long. This was a rant. Just be careful. Don't meet your idols, people. And I know that's an old saying, but sometimes that's really true. A lot of these people are really narcissistic. They're gone. They're just mentally gone. Tons of money, got some power, it went straight to their head. They were probably like this all along, and as soon as they got in a position of money and power, they felt it was easy for them to do. It was easy to start now manipulating and doing the things that they really always wanted to do all along. Absolutely insane. Let me know What do you think about this? Now, my experiences are my own. They are my opinion. It is alleged, of course, for legal reasons. There's not a lot else to say, but I do have a lot more stories and a lot more details. But let me just tell you, be careful, vet the people you work with, give it time, give it more than a couple days. It means everything, it makes a difference. You'll be surprised, but if something like this happens to you, just learn from it the best you can, get all the experience you can, and make sure to have all the evidence, okay? Build your case in the meantime. Play nice, do whatever it takes to protect yourself and your family. People like this are out there, especially these kinds of people. And they're not there to help you, they're there to help themselves. And they will tear you down and everybody else around, even though they can only exist because of you as a hard, passionate worker. It's crazy, I don't understand it, I've never been this way. Hard lesson learned. Take it from me. Don't repeat the same mistake. It was crazy though. That was a crazy experience. I am glad I went through it, for the record. I am. But I have a lot to say about this. I would love to talk to Benny or somebody about this someday. You know, I'm a little nobody right now with my 0 subscribers and 2.5 views, one of which is going to be me watching it. So, you know, if I ever get that opportunity, I will happily talk about it. Happily. This guy needs to quit coming up on all these videos. He needs to stop giving people advice and trying to explain what's going on. There are far better people out there. Many people who are genuine and kind and actually care. This guy, no. And if he was decades ago, he lost it. It's gone.
Oh, for crying out. You know what your problem is, huh? You're so goddamn bored you gotta invent things to bitch about. You haven't got a single thing on this earth to do except for your hair. Yeah, your closet was fine. You just needed something to take up your useless, empty, nail polishing, toe polishing, rich bitch sun tanning days.
It's gone. Anyhow, I'll share more stories down the road when I actually get a little bit more attention for this so that, you know, people can see this and understand what's going on and I can get more feedback. I'm not trying to harm his reputation. I'm just telling my opinion of my story and my experience. That's all it is. It's alleged. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.